strongly by my fellow castmates, especially approaching a character like Finnick that is described as some kind of god, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, to sort of approach a character like that, it was quite tough, to say the very least. I had to go through some huge physical transformations, a shaven chest. Yeah, it was very, very intimidating, but I kind of embraced the challenge, I think, and worked as hard as I could. That's all you can do. And as much as there was, a fair bit of negativity when I was cast initially, I think now, a few people have been turned, and my goal is to obviously turn the world, and that's what Finnick's goal is as well, I guess. So I guess I have that in common with him. So yeah.
Hey, sorry, I didn't answer your multi-part question about what I liked about my character. I like that BT is an idea man who's resistant to the status quo.
Josh and Jennifer, Ben Kaiser from Movie Guide. What do you feel, what kind of moral lessons do you feel young boys and girls can learn from your characters? And do you feel that's an important thing for young adult fiction?
I think that we have this society that, we unfortunately experience in our lives where people feel entitled to certain things, and they have this certain, I think that we've been completely desensitized in our shock factor, and the media continues to feed you what you want. And this is kind of an example of what happens when you keep allowing that to happen, when you keep feeling entitled to things that you're just simply not. And I think that and at the end of the first movie with us and the Barrys, no, they don't need a victor. We don't need to play in this game. Is a wonderful example for young adults that you don't have to follow the feet in front of you, that you, even though you can seem like the only one, even just one voice standing up for something that's wrong can keep us from going into a totalitarian government.
I think that with today, with our generation and my younger brother's kind of younger generation coming up too, they're surrounded by so much in-your-face truth from around the world, like about issues that are happening and whatnot, and they're also told all the time about how they're supposed to be by the media and how they're, what kind of people they need to be or how they need to look or dress. And I think this movie just sort of shows that you can go against the flow of things. I think for me that's the most important thing, because that's what I did when I was a kid in Kentucky, is I went against the flow of things and went for what I wanted to do in life. And I'm here talking to you guys, so it's pretty cool, I think.
For Jennifer, Josh, and Liam, we see in the film how Katniss is sort of discovering the voice that she's been given through her notoriety and her ability to inspire and affect change. You guys are getting a voice now. You have an ability to reach people through your work, through just your celebrity. What do you hope you can accomplish with that platform that you're kind of developing right now?
It kind of changes sometimes. There are so many wonderful things that can come from this. When you have a voice saying the right things, and it's so easy for us to. A simple one is it's so easy to raise money for charity. It takes me 10 minutes to sign 100 posters that can raise thousands of dollars for charity, and that's so simple. And also, wait, I had a really good answer and I can't remember.
I don't know.
God, what were you saying? What can we
do with it?
I think that no, because honestly, sometimes it surprises me. I remember being on the first movie, and when you're an actor, you don't ever think, or I hope that you don't, I don't ever think like, my job is very important. What I do is very important for the world and for people. I just love doing it. And I remember being on the first movie, and there was a girl who was an extra, and she was covered in scars. She had been burned. And I remember her coming up to me and saying that she was too self-conscious to go to school when she was younger, and then when she read The Hunger Games and Catching Fire, she felt proud of her scars, and her friends called her the girl on fire, and I remember just crying and calling my mom, and I still can't really tell the story without tearing up. And I remember just calling my mom and being like, I kind of get it. And I remember reading that in the third book when she goes to the hospital, and sometimes it can seem so pointless because you're so filled with like hair and makeup and clothes, and then sometimes just the lives that you can touch without even meaning to. So I don't really have any plans. Sometimes it comes up and bites me in the ass, and it's great. And I like doing it that way.
I think we're given a unique opportunity to have a voice and, you know, to spread awareness to a particular issue that might be important. I think, you know, regardless of whether people want to listen to us or not, we're given a platform to talk on. And I think if you know, who we are, if we use that platform, you know, to do a small bit of good, you know, do the little bit that we can do and then spread awareness to something important, I think it's a unique opportunity to have.
Hello, Melissa Molina, Screen Crepe. This question goes to Mr. Hutcherson and Hemsworth. I'm sorry, I like being more formal when it comes to things like this. I wanted to talk about the personality evolution of Peeta and Gale throughout Catching Fire, because we see how they are in the first movie, and then as Katniss gets closer to Peeta, for instance, you know, we see more of, like, you know, he's affected by what happened in the previous movie too, and then what Gale's going through because of the revolution that's starting to build up. And can you talk about the developing the characters more, and if you got any of that from the source material?
Yeah, I think there's a lot in the source material. I mean, it's nice when you have a whole book and then you have to whittle it down to a movie, because as an actor you get a lot more kind of information about your characters, I think. Yeah, for me, I think that Peeta, he's more angry in this movie. Like he's got like that. In the first movie he was like the baker that painted, and now in this one he's a baker that paints, but he also like has a little bit like an edge to him. I feel like he's angry about having to go back into the games. He's angry about, you know, how Katniss has been with him and kind of feeling like he's been led on, and up until that moment where they are in the train together and they have like the coming together of friends kind of thing. I think that he feels really sort of disappointed with the whole situation, obviously, as one would in the Hunger Games. But yeah, I think that this movie just expands a lot on the different relationships. I think that you see a lot more of the dynamic with Katniss and Peeta and how they're affected by the games and how they're affected by the whole world they live in. And then the same, I think, goes for the relationship with those two. You can talk. I don't know.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's when Katniss comes back from the games, Gale is obviously seeing this post-traumatic stress that she's dealing with, and, you know, he's obviously watched her fall in love with someone else, and he cares deeply about her. But I think, you know, as angry and as frustrated as Gale is watching her go back into these games, I think he understands that, you know, at the end of the day, Peter's trying to protect her as well, and I think he's one of her best chances at survival, and I think he does appreciate that in a way, as hard as it is for him to, you know, to watch all of this emotion unfold between them. But, yeah. You want to have a fight?
Yeah. Nah, I'm good.
Me too. I love you. I love you, man.
Okay.
I love you.
That's all right.
We love each other.
This is mainly for Jennifer, Donald, Lenny, and especially Woody. Fewer than 25% of the people in America think this country is on the right track. Who do you admire enough to think they should become a symbol for revolutionary change?
Ryan Seacrest. That's all. Thank you.
Bill Maher.
Great. Good morning. Jennifer, for you and for any of the returning cast members, could you talk about the challenges of playing a character's arc over multiple films as opposed to one 2-hour movie?
A lot of character development happens.
Yes, lots.
Lots of character
Lots of
development.
character.
It's nice.
Yeah,
I think
it
you
is nice.
have more time to show more, and you got multiple movies. You don't just have one 2-hour block to work within.
Yeah.
A lot of meaning.
And you get to play a character who's obviously the same character, but is changing and growing, and that's something that is nice.
It's nice. That's the answer.
It's so nice.
I'll pipe in on that too, just to say that one of the things that I think Suzanne tried very hard to do in her books, and that these actors have really been inspired by, is that we really asked ourselves, what would happen if these things really did happen to you? And even though it is a dystopic future, and even though it is a popcorn, movie that many people based on a book that a lot of people love, we try to ask ourselves really, how would you be affected by these events if they happen to you? Not if they happen to you in a book, not if they happen to you in a movie, but if they actually happen to you. And I think all of these actors, in each subsequent movie, you see the effects on them as human beings, the way that humans are affected by violence and by war.
This movie's got a lot of really intense scenes, and one of the most intense is the flogging scene that Liam Hemsworth goes through. And I was reading in Entertainment Weekly about how much joking, how much fun there was, despite the serious subject.
Everyone was strangely happy to whip me. I was like, all right, man, you ready? Let's do it.
He's getting really hurt. I mean, getting whipped with something is okay maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
In your own words.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Once or twice.
He
is
likes
more
it
than
at first.
enough. Yeah. First, that's not that bad, and then after 3 days of doing it, it starts to wear on you.
But that's every scene. I mean, yeah. But that's how we,
That's after
fortunately, we
every
all work
scene.
that
It's
way.
good for,
We
for
keep
one
it
or
loose.
2 takes, and then you hate it
Yeah.
for the next 3
Yeah.
days.
And then, Jennifer, you won your Academy Award. You're reuniting with David O. Russell for this December. Can you talk about that? And was there a Bring Your Oscar to Work day for this movie?
Absolutely. I brought it to work. I put it on Video Village, and I was like, things are going to be very different from now on. No, I didn't. We kind of, it was, I mean, I saw everybody the next day, and everybody was just kind of like, hey,
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah,
All
cool.
right.
And then I was like, nothing? Okay.
All right.
No, it actually made me a target. Somebody, Woody, every time I mess up my line, is like, oh, I better give that Oscar back. I actually wish that everybody in this cast didn't know about it. That'd make my life a lot easier. But yeah, getting back together with David is, a no-brainer. I adore him, and his script and character was amazing and unlike anything I had ever done. So, I did it instead of resting again.
And is it important to keep changing, since you're going to be so identified with Katniss, that you want to play women that are totally opposite this?
Yes and no. The reason that I signed on to Hunger Games because I knew that was, we had already had Harry Potter and we already had Twilight, so we were obviously surprised by the success. How could we not be? But we did know what to expect to a certain extent. And if I was going to be identified for a character for the rest of my life, that's a hard thing to think about. But I love this character, and I'm proud of her, and I would be proud to be associated with this movie and this character for the rest of my life. That being said, I do think it is important. It has been important to get the little thing, and not even really for audiences. Obviously, some for audiences to see. I can also do this since these are so big and overwhelming, but. For me, I like going back and, I started doing indies, and I'll end in indies, and I enjoy doing it. It's kind of, sometimes when you find a really great character like Rosalind and David's movie, it's better than Vacation. It's like, I don't know, it's exciting.
Better than Vacation.
It is better than Vacation sometimes.
All right.
Yeah, as long as the catering's good, it's better than Vacation.
For the actors, some of you more than others get to sport some fabulous makeup, hair, and costumes. Do your characters, for you, start with what's on the page with the words or with the costumes? How does that influence your performance?
Definitely words. What?
Yeah.
I don't. Do you want me to keep talking?
A little bit, yeah. It's always fun.
Words. Oh, I thought more. Okay.
For Jennifer, could you talk a little bit about what was the toughest stunts to do? Was there a moment where you thought, I can't believe I'm doing this? And also, what did winning the Oscar what did it mean to you?
I think the hardest stunt to do, the spinning cornucopia was pretty hard. We had a real spinning cornucopia that was going about 30 miles per hour. And Jenna and I both had our, morning sickness, bracelets on because it was
Morning
hard
sickness
to know. Yeah.
or motion sickness?
Oh.
I mean, if there's something you want to tell me, maybe now is not the best place or
God.
the best platform for this.
That is going to be, my publicist is like, and that's what I'm going to be dealing with for the next 24 hours. Motion sickness.
There it is.
God. So that was hard, just to kind of try to keep your cookies down during that situation. and winning the Oscar, it's, you know, something like that is a wonderful gift that I was so grateful for, and, you know, I'm confused by slightly.